statistically significant? Honestly, if you could take one pill that could decrease your risk of dying from heart disease, wouldn't it be worth it?
I'm going to underline this if you don't mind. Make sure you all heard Dr. Edwards right. A 9% less chance of dying from heart disease by taking omega-3s. We're all clear on this. It's a big number. So I'm trying to put this all together. Why do you think the study presented the findings and compiled the findings that they offer?
Well, you know, one of the things that has also happened in the last 20 years is that really in the last 10 or 15 years, we have been using statins in pretty much everybody. I think the cardiologists would like to have statins in the water,
yes,
right? And statins do a really good job. I mean, in some people they have a lot of side effects, but in general, they do a really good job. So when you're looking at the benefits of omega-3s, on top of statins, then you're not going to be able to see that significant of a difference. But our bodies need omega-3s. It's not just for heart. It's for every single cell in our body. It's essential. We can't make them. We have to have them. And if, like Maria, we're not eating fish, what are we going to do?
We're going to talk about that and lots more when we come back. Are omega-3 supplements still right for you? Who are they wrong for? Those answers when we return. Essential. Dr. Tanya Edwards is back with me to help answer your most pressing questions. So, if someone were to come see you in your office, a patient, what would you tell them about your recommendations today for omega-3 fats based on the study that just came out?
My recommendations have not changed, Dr. Oz. I am continuing to tell patients to take omega-3s on a regular basis, every day.
No difference.
No difference.
Are there any patients, any people who should not be taking omega-3 fats?
Well, generally no, because there's no harm from taking omega-3 fats at all. The only two instances where I get a little bit concerned and recommend that maybe you should speak with your doctor is if you have a bona fide fish allergy. Really, I mean, if you have anaphylaxis, you stop breathing, you need to rush to the hospital, you need to talk to your doctor. Even some of those patients don't even really have problems when they take the oil, because the allergy is usually with the protein, but just to be on the safe side. The other thing is blood thinners, patients with taking Coumadin or any of those blood thinners, that can also be a problem because fish oil can thin the blood itself too. And so just check with your doctor.
Well, you got to say, as a physician who prescribes a lot of blood thinners, I've looked at this. I don't seem to find a problem with patients taking omega-3 fats with those blood thinners.
Right.
It does loosen the blood a little bit, but it doesn't seem to cause more bleeding problems. So I'm pretty comfortable in that setting.
I am too.
Besides heart health, and Maria mentioned this a second ago, I'm going to come back to Maria's story in a moment. What are the other reasons? I want to be clear on this, why omega-3s are so essential for our well-being.
Oh, really? Omega-3s have been shown to be very helpful for several different things, but the one that's impressed me most is brain health. Omega-3s over and over again show significant decreases in depression. It's been shown to decrease problems with anxiety and bipolar. So all of those patients definitely need to be on omega-3s. There have been some studies looking at eyes, decreases eye dryness, as well as macular degeneration, which is a problem that many people have had. Large studies show that that's helpful for that too. And skin. You saw Maria and how beautiful they both are, Maria and Brandy. Their skin is glowing. It's probably because they've been taking omega-3s for 15 and 10 years.
And we touched on mood a little bit,
yeah.
But the first thing I give people who say I'm sort of down, I can't get my thoughts together, is omega-3 fats.
Absolutely.
Which brings me to a big issue, the source of the omega-3. So compare the fish sources of omega-3s from some of these plant sources.
The plant-based sources of omega-3s are good sources of EPA, which is one of the omega-3s in the fish oil. But you need the EPA and the DHA, and DHA has been shown to be very, very helpful for the neurotransmitters to hook up with the brain cells. And so that's probably what's giving the most effect in those kinds of things.
So not eating fish for months at a time is going to be a problem because you don't convert, for example, flaxseed, which is great for some omega-3s, into the kind you need for your brain.
Exactly.
Right? Compare taking your omega-3s from fish sources versus taking one of the pills.
Well, the problem with fish, unfortunately, is that so much of our fish are as a result of farming. And so farming, they feed them corn and other things that do not really support them actually producing omega-3s in their own body. So farm-raised fish end up being very low in omega-3s. And so that can be a huge issue.
And most of the fish that we think is ocean fish, the salmons, and most of that's farm raised now.
Yeah, and the other huge issue is mercury. Many of you have heard that, pregnant women should probably not eat fish very much. And if you have any concerns about mercury, there are certainly different kinds of fish you absolutely should avoid. And so you really kind of have to be very careful with the kind of fish you're eating.
So keeping that in mind, which fish would you recommend in your household?
Well, trout, anchovies, sardines, and my favorite, salmon, wild salmon.
Wild salmon. But those other three sources, the trout, the sardines, the mackerel, they're smaller fish. If you haven't developed a taste for them, try them. They actually, I think, are wonderful, and they fit into lots of different cuisines. And I've talked about salmon tons of times, great source, but again, it's got to be wild salmon. How often should you be eating these seafoods if you're going to use fish as your main source of omega-3s?
Well, the FDA recommends eating them at least twice a week, but I recommend if you know that your source is very low in mercury, eat it every day.
And some of the other fish, the tilapias of the world.
Yeah, some of those fish basically have no omega-3s, so you don't get credit for it.
Maria, getting half credit in life. How do you think about that?
Pretty good. I'll take it.
omega-3 that's right for you.
Fresh Pet. Recipes so fresh, the only preservative we use is the fridge. Fresh Pet. Fresh food for Fido.
We're back and talking about omega-3s, and I'm here with Dr. Tanya Edwards, who has helped me come up with guidelines to help make the right choices when it comes to buying these supplements. Doctor, let's talk about the different strengths that are available.
Oh, my goodness. The range is huge, from almost no omega-3s to 9 to 1,000 milligrams of omega-3s per pill. So I basically tell patients to get some that have the highest amount of the omega-3s that you can find.
And there are government regulations that are supposed to help us figure this out. How valuable are they?
Well, the FDA does have the power to go after companies that don't have the amount that they are supposed to have in them, as well as that are contaminated. And we see this all the time, but the problem is the funding. The FDA is grossly underfunded, so they just do not have enough people to be able to go out and do all of the testing on the supplements that they should.
So how can consumers figure out if a product is a good one or a bad one?
Well, my favorite is I tell all my patients to go to consumerlab.com. consumerlab.com.
And we'll link to that on droz.com so folks have a resource to go to. With more than 1,000 omega-3 items on the shelves, I'm going to give you all 3 rules you need to know when you go shopping. Rule number 1 is look for DHA. Those 3 letters, DHA, have to be in front of the omega-3. Now, why is that so important?
Well, DHA is the one that has been shown to be so overwhelmingly helpful for not only the brain health, but also lowering triglycerides and cholesterol and potentially decreasing the plaques in the heart. So you want to make sure that your supplement has at least 600 milligrams of DHA.
Okay, so Maria and Brandy have their personal supply. And look at the back there. What do you guys see on yours? Does it say DHA omega-3s?
Yes.
Both of it does.
Yep.
Maria doesn't care if she's not taking it anymore.
Yeah.
But when you were taking the right one.
Right.
Okay, that's rule number 1, DHA omega-3s. Rule number 2 is recommended daily values. You know that phrase, right? Recommended daily values? It's a head fake. They're there to trick you. They have no meaning in reality. These are one of the biggest tricks that companies will try because the FDA has no recommended values or daily value for omega-3s. So Maria and Brandy, take a look at your labels. Does it give you a percentage of a daily value?
Mine doesn't. It says daily value not established.
Perfect. That's an honest label. That's a good sign. Okay. Now, rule number 3, this is a very important one, has to do with how we store our omega-3s. You want to look for an opaque or dark-colored bottle. Dr. Edwards, why does that matter that it's a dark-colored or opaque bottle?
Well, fish oil, as in any natural oil like olive oil or any of those, they can go rancid. They become oxidized when they're exposed to air, which causes the rancid. It can really smell bad, etc. Sometimes you go to the big shopping stores and buy like